RHOSLC, Lisa Barlow doubles down Whitney is the real liar. Since The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City premiered, Lisa Barlow and Whitney Rose have been at odds. Except for those few moments of peace in Season 3 when they had a common enemy, the women have been at each other's throats. The Season 5 premiere was no different, as it ended with the two of them hurling accusations across a dinner table. Now Lisa is giving her side of the story. Lisa Barlow is not happy with Whitney Rose's comments. Early in the premiere, we see Lisa getting together with Angie Katsinas and Heather Gay for a catch-up 2 weeks before the setting of the episode, Lisa's Valentine's Day party, Bezos. She tells her friends she is inviting Whitney to her party, even though she is mad about what Whitney said during an appearance on former Bachelor Nick Viall's podcast. On the podcast, Whitney claimed that Lisa never apologizes for anything and that she only cares about being right, before proclaiming Lisa has always been the villain of the show. When the ladies sat down to their V-Day dinner, Whitney immediately leaned into Lisa and asked what they needed to talk about. After some nasty back and forth with claims of lying and narcissism, Whitney says she stands by her claims Lisa is the villain of the show. Lisa responded, "I will be your villain, ******. Lisa Barlow doubles down Whitney Rose is the liar of RHOSLC. After fans got to see their fight on the season premiere, Lisa sat down with Virtual Reality to give her side of the drama. She claims Whitney is only coming after her in an attempt to stay relevant, saying she doesn't have a storyline, so she continues to come after her. She also called Whitney the biggest liar, before adding, "Every single season we see her tell lies, and then at the end, we see the truth." Despite the ice thawing between them for a bit in Season 3, Lisa said that their friendship truly ended in Season 2, when Whitney brought a man to a party and told everyone he had slept with the happily married Lisa. She only found out about the man after the party. Lisa teased that fans have only seen the tip of the iceberg when it comes to her and Whitney's relationship in Season 5. "Whitney and I get to a point in Season 5 where I'm like, you constantly lie about me. You make me have to tell the truth, and you don't like that. You want people to believe your lies." The sun shone through the dramatic windows of Lisa Barlow's downtown Salt Lake City penthouse, casting streaks of light across her sleek marble countertops. A lone glass of wine sat beside her phone, its dark red liquid undisturbed as Lisa scrolled through the endless string of Instagram comments and media clips from the latest Real Housewives of Salt Lake City episode. The week's drama was not new to her. In fact, it was familiar, painfully so. Whitney Rose, her supposed friend, had been stirring the pot once again, and now Lisa was finally ready to defend herself. After weeks of underhanded insults and cryptic comments, Lisa knew it was time to set the record straight. "Whitney's the liar, not me," Lisa muttered under her breath, locking her phone with a flick of her thumb. She took a deep breath and reached for her wine, the glass cool against her hand. She had a reputation to uphold, and tonight, she was going to make sure the world knew the truth about Whitney's scheming ways. Lisa had always been the self-proclaimed queen of control. Whether in business, her family life, or her friendships, she was not someone who let things go unchecked. And this time, her patience had run out. Whitney's latest barrage of accusations, including claims about Lisa's business dealings and personal loyalty, were just too much. The former besties had had their ups and downs, but now Whitney was trying to make herself out to be the virtuous one while Lisa was painted as the villain. The nerve. Lisa could still remember the fateful conversation they had just days before, one where Whitney had accused her of sabotaging her family business. Whitney had claimed Lisa was behind a smear campaign that questioned the legitimacy of the Rose family's business ventures, an accusation that Lisa found laughable. In a franchise where loyalty was often a facade, Whitney's accusations weren't just a slap in the face, they were a blatant distortion of the facts. Lisa knew better than anyone how hard she had worked to build her empire, how many sleepless nights, business calls, and networking events it took to establish herself in the luxury beverage world. But Whitney, the self-styled good girl, had a narrative she was trying to sell, that Lisa was a deceitful, money-driven socialite with no real moral compass. And Lisa was ready to make sure that everyone saw through the charade. "She's the real liar," Lisa said, her voice growing sharper as she thought back to the heated argument between the two at the last dinner party. Whitney had brought up everything from Lisa's past mistakes to her most recent business decisions, all in an attempt to discredit her. But instead of cowering, Lisa had stood her ground. She wasn't going to let Whitney manipulate the narrative. "I'm not the one lying about my family's finances or using a public platform to shade people to make myself look better," Lisa had retorted, her eyes narrowing as she looked across the table at Whitney. That moment, caught on camera for all of Bravo's loyal fans to see, was a defining one in the relationship between the two women. It wasn't just a typical housewife spat. This was personal. Whitney had accused Lisa of being manipulative and selfish, but Lisa knew that the accusations were grounded in jealousy, not truth. Whitney had tried to put the blame on Lisa's supposed dark side, but Lisa wasn't buying it. As the weeks passed, Lisa had watched Whitney's narrative grow. With every Instagram post, every cryptic story, and every conversation with the other housewives, Whitney had painted herself as the victim of Lisa's supposed betrayal. But Lisa had one thing Whitney didn't: proof. "I've got receipts, and she knows it," Lisa muttered, her tone laced with venom. Whitney had been playing a dangerous game, but Lisa was ready to end it once and for all. She wasn't afraid to go public with the truth. With the season finale drawing near, Lisa had no plans to back down. She would expose Whitney's true intentions and set the record straight. Lisa reached for her phone again, her fingers hovering over the screen. The world would see it. They would see how Whitney had been playing the role of the poor, misunderstood housewife, when in reality, she had been just as calculating and ruthless as the rest of them. She wasn't going to let her pretend otherwise. It was time to stop hiding behind fake tears and manufactured drama. She hit post. The social media post went live, showcasing a series of carefully curated screenshots, text exchanges between her and Whitney. The messages, innocent at first, had slowly turned hostile, with Whitney making subtle threats and accusations about Lisa's loyalty. Whitney had even gone so far as to demand that Lisa distance herself from certain people, calling them bad for business, a tactic Lisa had seen before. Whitney was positioning herself as the righteous one, all the while playing the game from behind the scenes. Lisa watched the comments flood in almost immediately. Her fans, the ones who had always been loyal to her, rallied behind her, with many even accusing Whitney of starting a smear campaign herself. The tides were turning. Lisa was no longer just defending herself, she was on the offensive. Back in Salt Lake City, the other housewives were starting to pick sides. Meredith Marks, who had been sitting on the fence, began to hint at her suspicions about Whitney's sincerity. Heather Gay, ever the peacemaker, stayed neutral, but her face said it all. She was tired of the drama. However, it was Jen Shah, ever the unpredictable wild card, who seemed to gravitate towards Lisa. She was ready to take down Whitney too, seeing the opportunity to shift the spotlight onto someone else. "Whitney has this idea that she can get away with being the moral compass of the group," Jen said one night at dinner, clearly not holding back. "But I see through it. She's just as manipulative as anyone else here, and she's not going to fool me." Lisa smiled, knowing the tides were turning in her favor. She didn't have to be the nice girl to win this battle. She had earned her position on RHOSLC through sheer will and business savvy, and she wasn't going to let anyone, especially Whitney, take that from her. As the season drew to a close, Lisa had become the undeniable center of attention. Unapologetically bold, fiercely independent, and above all, the one who wasn't afraid to stand up and say, "I'm not the liar."